So I thought I'd show you a little bit about how we render out wax. It's not the prettiest of processes, but it's effective and pretty quick actually. Setup, which is has a little steamer running to the back of this bottom box. This bottom box is pretty old junk. I have a hole drilled. I'll show you. Just have a hole drilled in the back where that pipe runs in, and then I'm gonna open this quickly. Just put a top on it, and normally I would stack, I would set frames in here, so long as they don't have a plastic foundation. If you have plastic foundation, that's not a good idea. But you can see I just have a like screened bottom board that has a bunch of comb that we pulled off of frames and broke it up and set it down in there. We let that steam out and it runs out this bottom box. But we can stack multiples on top of this if we want to. So that's one way that we render wax. And then if we really want to go through and render down a lot of that leftover casing, the like the silk or the paper cocoons or what's it, cells, then this is what we do. We come over to this little machine. It's just a little pressure cooker slash slow cooker combo, and we got this on line for real cheap because it's banged up. I don't even have the top to it because we don't need to use it for anything other than melting this down. Fill this up with water. You can see there's water right here. Stack some of that remnant in here, and then we'll melt this all down. We'll let this hot water get hot, and then we'll pull this all out. We'll scrape off the the junk from the top, and then after that gets done, we'll actually put. There'll still be some debris left in there. We'll put that inside a cheesecloth, kind of repeat that process. So it's a two-step. We could have done this in one, but we get a little bit more wax out by rendering this way first, just straight, and then putting it in cheesecloth afterwards. And then after that, we just discard all this stuff, which is called slum gum. That's whatever's left of this afterwards. And then we have wax left behind. I'll show you what that looks like. The cool thing about this is that whenever we render this way, it's almost completely processed at that point. We may render it down again, like put it in hot water and render it down one more time and run it through a cheesecloth. But because of the screen that we use here, it keeps most of that junk up top, and then the wax comes out the bottom. So it's pretty pure already. But I'll show you what both look like after they come. Actually, I can show you what a batch looks like after it's come out of there. So this is a block that we did, it's a blob really, that we did last night. And this obviously needs to be melted down to like a nice, pretty form. But most of the junk, I mean, there's not really any debris in here. There may be like a bee or something that flew into that pan, but most of it's not, got anything major wrong with it. And then I'll show you what this looks like later. Comb that was in here, and I've poured it over a bucket with cheesecloth stretched across the top. I just have a little wire here to retain that. And now what we'll do is we'll pull that off and see what we've got. And then we put everything back in a cheesecloth and we let it boil out, and all of this beautiful stuff here on the edges, I've got some cheesecloth over there, is wax, and we'll squeeze some out of this cheesecloth too. And so all the liquid that was in here, we just have drained through, take a colander, take a couple pieces of cheesecloth, lay in here, drain that through there. That's your final result. And then this will cool. And we have to do one more thing to it after it cools, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so after everything cools down, we are left with a chunk of wax. So all we need to do now is drain out this water, dirty water, and we'll have our wax. So there we go. This is what we pull out, and you'll see that there's some junk that settles on the bottom, but we can just scrape that right off, and we'll have a clean piece of wax.